We loved the Full Metal Alchemist, and I'm sure you did too. Today we wanted to look at how alchemy really works in the Full Metal Alchemist. Now in the show, alchemy as a whole is understood to be a combination of both an ancient metaphysical science and the mystical art of manipulating matter using natural energy. This manipulation is known as a transmutation and can be broken down into three separate parts. The first part is the understanding of the makeup of the material that is going to be transmuted. This includes the understanding of how the flow of both potential and kinetic energy work within the material. Second is deconstruction, when energy is used to break down the material into an easier state to be reshaped. And last, we've got reconstruction, the completion step after deconstruction, in which the broken down materials are reformed into a new form that the alchemist has chosen. Sometimes this can be transmuting something into an entirely new form, or transmuting a broken radio into a working radio, changing very little about the form except from that little fix. Sometimes this can be transmuting something into an entirely new form, like transmuting the ground into a giant spear, or just transmuting a broken radio into a working radio. To properly do this, there needs to be both complete understanding of the chemistry of the materials, as well as ancient alchemy theories. But it also requires having the natural talent to recognize and manipulate both the materials and energy properly to perform your transmutations. As you can imagine, this requires a higher than normal level of intelligence and aptitude. The few who have the knowledge and skill to perform transmutations are then known as alchemists. An alchemist has several ways they can transmute materials. Some use some of the four classical elements, which are water, earth, fire, and air. Other alchemists use the three essential principles, including salt, sulfur, and mercury. However, the basic foundation and the number one rule of alchemy is the law of equivalent exchange. There are two parts of equivalent exchange that are rooted in actual science. The first being the law of conservation of mass. This is the law about how energy and mass cannot be created or destroyed, only changed from one form to another. The second part is the Law of Natural Provenance. This law is about how an object made of a certain material can only be transmuted into something containing the same components and chemical makeup of that original material. Keep in mind that alchemists who don't fully understand these laws fall victim to what's called a rebound. A rebound occurs when they attempt to transmute something small into something bigger, throwing off the balance and resulting in mutations, injury, or even death. An example of this is when Father Cornello's fake Philosopher's Stone broke and caused physical mutations. But a complete understanding of both transmutations and equivalent exchange aren't enough alone to perform alchemy. The final component needed for most alchemists is either a transmutation circle or transmutation array. The circle can be drawn in many ways, using chalk, pencil, ink, blood, or even just traced out in the dirt. Heck, if you really knew what you were doing, you could turn an entire country into a giant transmutation circle. Without a transmutation circle or array, a transmutation cannot be performed for most alchemists. Of course, this excludes Edward Elric as well as his teacher, for reasons we're going to go into another time. The circle is made up of two parts. The outer circle itself controls the flow of power within the energy that already exists in earth and matter. This circle represents the flow of the world's energies and turns that energy into a form that can be manipulated. Inside of the circle are particular alchemical runes that connect with different forms of energy. This allows the energy that is focused inside the circle to be used by an alchemist in the way that they want it to. Depending on what kind of alchemy you use can change the different runes within that transmutation circle, with the best example being Roy Mustang's fire transmutation and its unique transmutation circle. Some alchemists, however, are able to use a transmutation array instead of a circle. An array also circulates energy, but unlike the circle, an array's runes are not confined to the circumference of that circle. Some arrays don't even have a circle at all, as long as the alchemist understands the flow of energies involved. Those who are not able to understand how the flow of energy works, or have an incomplete array, won't be able to perform transmutations. And in the case of Scar, who only had half an array in the form of tattoos on his arm, a complete transmutation is impossible and will result in ending after the deconstruction phase. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed learning about the alchemy used in the Full Metal Alchemist, and be sure to check back as we go a little bit more in depth of the different specific types of alchemy that we saw in the show. I'm Dan with CTV, and I'll see you guys next time.